The recording will be available through your chapter.
Awesome.
And officially, once more, welcome everybody. So great to have you here. I'm David Marks. I help support the regional webinars, and great to see some very familiar faces and then some other folks that I might not have bumped into before. To give you a sense of what we're expecting, we've got a 1 hour presentation plus actually 15 minutes of Q&A. Those of you who have your video on, that's great. Always good to see you. And of course, we understand that's not always possible. So do what's going to help you feel comfortable. We will make sure everyone's audio is on mute during the presentation, just so we get a nice clean recording and can pay close attention to what Denise has to say. In terms of Q&A, pop your questions into the chat as they come up. Kristen and I will keep track of them. And there will be a lot of time for Q&A at the end, and we'll make sure Denise gets all those questions and anything else that comes up. And when you'd like to reflect on what you learned, within maybe a week or 2 weeks, the recording and the slides will be available through your very own chapter. Kristen, over to you for the intro, and I'll pop a larger bio into the chat.
Fantastic. So I am so excited that Denise is spending her time with us. She is a founder at SWAYworkplace, which is a learning and development consultancy focused on hybrid work skills mastery at scale. She sees the future of work as an unprecedented challenge, an opportunity to reimagine work in a way that allows us to live balanced, purposeful, and meaningful lives. And Denise has a burning desire to develop a future of work mindset in the everyday person. I know when I first met Denise last spring, I was so excited and intrigued to meet someone who is a workplace futurist. So thank you so much, Denise, and turning things over to you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me. If you bear me 1 second, I'm going to share my screen and keep it up so that we can get going. Awesome. Perfect. So a very big hello to everyone. It is super awesome to be here. ETD, Learning and Development. You are my people. I am your person. We are in the same boat together because Sway is a learning and development consultancy, and we focus on the skills component, but kind of what we moved into over the course of the last year is focusing very narrowly on optimizing hybrid work models for mid-sized companies. And the reason we kind of got to that, Kristen, the point that you mentioned earlier about the people you're meeting, and I'm sure everyone has this experience, is that we made this bet early in 2019, where we kind of foresaw this flexibility coming towards us as the new norm. We had a huge hunch, not sure where it came from, but we had this vision and idea, and we ran with it. But looking ahead, we could kind of see the road splitting in two. We felt that people could very quickly get a handle on what we call their hybrid what. So what do we want to do in hybrid? Do we want to be remote first? Do we want to do 2 days in, 3 days out? But then that's where most people are. But what we saw was something a little different. We saw that people were going to get stuck and hit a wall on their hybrid how, which is how do we take this hybrid model we've made a decision on and papered and communicated and bring it to life in a way that it drives long-term performance, reduces risks, and allows people to live with a greater sense of peace and balance, which then they can find their own kind of sense of purpose. So those are all the wins to be had in hybrid. And I mentioned that from the outset, just to address your point, Kristen, about how sometimes people do feel like they're stuck. They're like, everyone told us they want hybrid. Everyone wants flexibility. We're giving them remote work. Why is this not working? And the truth is, to really understand what that is, we have to understand the science of hybrid. And that's exactly what it is that we're here today to do. We're here to kind of really help develop for you in your position right where you are, a lens, a new world, a new way of seeing this world through the very practically orientated science of hybrid. So I'm really, really super excited to help you along that journey. But before we do anything else, I've got one thing I want to ask you, a favor of you to do. Wherever you're sitting, wherever you are, as long as you're not driving, I just want you to get up from your seat real quick, just a super quick minute. I see you, David. I see you, Kristen. Just up off your seat. There we go. Take in a deep breath and just move around. Just stretch it out. There we go. Oh, doesn't that feel good? Awesome. Deep breath, move it, and take a seat whenever you're ready. We spend our time, fortunately, building happy hybrid teams for some kind of big companies around the world. And the first thing we ask people when we work with them is, if you could wave a magic wand, what would you do with 2 hours back in your day? That's the data points, the first thing we collect. 85% of the several hundreds of people we've worked with recently have come back and said one thing, 85% of them. The one thing they would do if they had 2 hours back in their day is move their body. They would exercise, they would work out, they would be in nature. So hybrid is based on flexibility. Flexibility by design is meant to give you back time and energy in your day. So why is it that this model that we've rolled out around the world is not doing that? And to understand that, we have to understand the hybrid how, which is a big reason for what we're going to get into here today.